Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the third edition of the I Hate You podcast. Once again, I am Gian.
And Amanda.
We are coming at you live, or at least recording this from, once again, the GCU parking lot. We are currently on spring break. We just finished up our first day of work. On our spring break, we came back from Cafe Zupas. So we had dinner there, and we decided, let's record today. So here we are, coming at you guys with another episode, and we feel like this one's gonna be a bit more personal.
Yeah.
A little bit more deep. So hopefully those who are listening do not get offended or misinterpret what we say. Obviously, there might be some misinterpretation.
Yeah.
But hopefully that it doesn't come across poorly, and just know that we are not attacking people.
Nope.
We're just kind of giving our thoughts on pretty general subjects.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to title this whole thing is Fight the Temptation. So one of the first things we wanted to address was the idea of fake people.
Air quotes. Fake people.
But we don't necessarily... We believe that the term fake is poorly used.
Yes.
It is misused.
Yes.
And with that, the whole term comes with a negative connotation. And, rightfully so, because no one likes fake people.
Right.
But,
yeah.
Take it away.
I'm not really sure how this kind of topic came up, but it is one that's really, I guess, close to my heart. I've really been hurt by a good amount of, I guess you want to say, fake people, but I really don't like using that term for the reasons that Gian said. But I just kind of want to talk about what makes people, I guess, fake. I'm not sure, Gian. Is there another word we can use?
Unreal?
Unreal?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think describing someone as fake is, like I said, poorly used, just because I don't think the person is fake. I would just say their actions is what really pisses people off.
Yeah.
And so I just don't like calling people fake, because I don't believe it's a weird thing.
Yeah, it is. It's
more actions than who the person actually is. And although if the actions are repeated, then definitely that person is what they are, what they do, and how they act. And but I think our experiences are the personal experiences that we are going to talk about are more of not who the person really is, but more of the actions, and that's what lends to us calling them fake.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like up to an individual to really decipher, are they really fake?
No.
Or not? Sorry,
yeah.
not only saying fake, but
right.
I think it's more of certain actions that just automatically lend to us calling them fake.
Right.
And it's just up to us to really determine, is that really who they are, or are they just being a jerk or fake or whatever in that moment.
Yeah, and I think like maturity has to do a lot with your actions and kind of finding out who you are and just kind of owning that, whether you're proud of it or whether you're not. I think being mature and realizing that God made you a certain way, and just kind of owning that, not having to fit in with people who you're surrounded by to try and talk like them or pretend to know things that you don't know. And I think that's kind of, especially me, I'll admit that personally, like throughout high school, I kind of would fake it to kind of know what I was talking about. And I know that there were some people who were able to see right through that. And now that I'm a couple years older, it's funny to just kind of turn around and see that I'm able to see the people who I could see through people pretty easily. And so it's just kind of funny to look back on my personal growth from trying to be a certain image or try and fit in with a certain crowd or a certain group of people for whatever reason, instead of just kind of owning who I am, whether I like that or not. And I think that's one of the things that people struggle with. And I think that's why this topic is so personal to me, is because I've kind of made that journey, and also I've been hurt by people who have made in that process of making that journey. So I do understand that, you know, it takes a while to find out who you are, but I think in that process of finding out who you are, just kind of owning, I don't know, help me out, Gian, like owning what you're about, and not letting certain people sway that from you.
There just has to be a realization moment, a personal moment in your life where you know, reflect upon who you are, who you have been, and what you ultimately truly want to be.
Right.
And if you want to be that person that conforms to what others are doing, you know, be our guest. You know, if that's what you want to do that. But understand that there are consequences with that type of decision, because there are going to be people who view that as quote unquote fake, who view that negatively, and that could result in you losing people in your lives, you hurting others. So it's, you know, obviously we advocate for being who you ultimately want to be. It's just a matter of, you know, coming to that point where you decide for yourself, what do I want to be? And in a personal kind of thing, I think it's all kind of hindsight now, but I mean, I think looking back, I fortunately have not been someone to conform to, you know, crowds or a certain type of people. I've done a good job of like staying relatively stick to who I am. I have not. I mean, I think I am guilty of wanting to, having the desire to conform, to be like certain people or to dress like certain people. I've had those, you know, those thoughts and those desires, but for the most part, I've been who I've been since, you know, as long as I can remember. And I think those people around me who have known me for the last couple of years or however long would agree with me on that, is that, you know, I may have changed my crowd, but I have not changed who I am. And I think that's a big thing, I think that's a big thing to understand, is like, you don't have to change who you are. You might have to change your crowd.
Right.
Because
and ultimately, because you knew who you were, so you knew that crowd might have had to change.
It's just, you know, in life, it's all about surrounding yourself with good people.
Right.
And I'm a firm believer that your surroundings really make you who you are.
Right. And
the experiences you go through. So, me going from a certain select group of friends to, I'm not saying they were bad. It's just, was it really what I wanted to be a part of? Was that really my group that I wanted to, you know, ingratiate myself with? So there was a shift in that for me, you know, I think my sophomore, junior year of high school, where I kind of just like drifted, but still stayed close and still was, you know, good with them. But I kind of drifted my social group and just like surrounded myself with the people I can see myself being really good with. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think kind of in doing that, and trying to find yourself, it's super hard, especially to give up those friends and those people. Not necessarily give them up, but distance yourself, like you were talking about. I don't know. And I think kind of in that process is when you find who you are.
So obviously, like, the term fake people is more of like, it's gotten more popular and it's more modernized.
Right.
So like, what would you view as someone who is quote unquote fake?
I think one of the biggest things would be to say you're all about something, to say that you would or wouldn't do this, or you believe this type of thing about the world, about people in general, and then the next day you're with another group of people, or you're doing something that goes against what you said or what you're about. And I know that I'm personally guilty of this, and I think that it's common for people to be guilty of that. But when it's a consistent measure, I also think that you're aware that you're doing that, and there's sort of a guilty conscience. So I'm not exempt from this, and I guess I can say that I'm talking from personal experience. But I think a person who consistently contradicts themselves would be considered quote unquote fake. And I think in that process of contradicting yourself, I think that everyone has a guilty conscience, so you feel that weight as well as you're impacting others, whether that be your family or your close friends who also care about you and see the real you and see that you're kind of swaying one way, trying to figure out, oh, do I want to go this way with my life? Do I want to go this way? So that's kind of the biggest umbrella, I guess, that I would consider fake people under, or people with fake attributes or actions. Is that what we said?
Yeah.
Fake actions.
For me, there's obviously multiple things that contribute to someone being fake.
Yeah.
But I think one thing with me is it's the simple idea of loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's a lot of loyalty nowadays, because, I think there is a good component of it and there's a bad component of nowadays people are all about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And to a certain extent, that's a good thing. But also, when you're someone who needs people or wants people in your life, loyalty is such a big thing with anything you do, because even in the workplace, businesses, they value loyalty, and they value the every sense of that word. And I know, like, from my sports background, in sports, loyalty does not exist. It exists to a certain degree, but in the end, there's really no loyalty in sports. And I think in life, in general, day-to-day life, I think loyalty is a key aspect. And staying loyal to those people who are there to support you, who have been there for you, through thick and thin, through high and hell waters, whatever. I think that is so valuable. And those who deviate from those people who, truly want the best for you, I think I would categorize it as fake.
Right. I think the funniest, well, not funny, but one of the things that was talked about in one of my classes was how in our Western culture, you're right, like loyalty and being true to the people who have been with you is not as big as in other cultures. So we see, like, the Hawaiian culture is one big one, that families ride or die. I mean, you could be in the middle of class and someone from a teacher shared this story with us that she had a Hawaiian student who was in class. They just up and left, and they actually just went on the next day, the flight home to Hawaii, didn't come back to school for 2 weeks because their mom was sick, and didn't give any teachers any notice, nothing. And so that was just a culture thing. So I think it's kind of cool and different how different cultures view loyalty, and we can kind of see that in our world today.
For me, like I said before, I touched on it, I'm not the type of person to categorize someone as fake. What I will do is judge you based on your actions.
Right.
And I'm not gonna categorize you entirely just because you did one thing.
Right.
Or
right.
I'm gonna make you out to be this type of person when everyone makes mistakes.
Right.
Everyone has their moments. So I'm not gonna generalize you and put you in this box unless you are a repeat offender.
Right. And I think kind of what we were talking about, fake people, I think also I kind of look at that, instead of saying fake, you're still just trying to figure out who you are.
Amen.
That's a big
Amen.
thing. That's a
Amen.
big thing. Like, you're really still just trying to figure out who you are. And it sucks for the people around you sometimes, but we've all been there. And so it's just one of those things that some people take a little longer, and maybe it happens a little bit later in their life, and I guess that's why they say age is just a number. But yeah, I think
especially at this point of our lives, you know, I think we touched on it on the first episode of, you know, figuring out what you like, who you are, who you want to be with. This is the time of your life where, you know, you have to make the effort to figure out who you want to be.
right.
Especially in college, especially being away from home, where you don't have anybody, to be honest.
You can do whatever you want.
You have the freedom
Yeah.
to do whatever you want,
Literally.
and you have to be okay with whatever comes with that.
Right.
And you know, being away from home, that's, for the first time, that's a big deal,
Yeah.
because if you mess up, there's no one there physically, or they're not physically there for you. You know, you mess up at home, oh, your dad's there, your mom's there,
Right.
brother, sister, whatever the case may be. Here, you know, you mess up and you're alone. And so
Yeah.
this is really the time of your life where you have to find yourself, and hopefully quickly. And because, you know,
There's a lot of roads you can take.
there's a
in
lot of
that. Yeah.
roads that you can go down, and there'll be a lot of crappy situations along those roads.
Right.
It will be bumpy, it'll be rocky, you'll trip, you'll fall. Whether you get back up, that's completely up to you,
Right.
and that's only you.
Right.
Because there can be people that help you and help you, encourage you to get up, but the only person that will make you get up is you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think we touched on this before, but just to wrap it up, kind of just finding what's important to you. Same thing with Gian said, like, there's going to be a lot of roads if you don't know exactly who you are and what's important to you and what your beliefs are morally and things like that. So if you're not sure and you're teetering back and forth, you're going to be teetering with, okay, should I do this? Should I do this? And and it's going to cause a lot of internal conflicts, and I don't know. So
One thing I also want to like mention is, for those people who are struggling with who they are and who they want to be, or are just going through a phase, you know, I think it's important for you, and I think it's going to be natural, and I think it's just going to happen just because I think that's the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But to understand that you may have people in your life that do truly care about you, and who honestly, like, would do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope that that whoever, you know, is listening, and is going through that kind of like that process of not really knowing, is that person good for me or is it not good for me, or, you know, whatever the case may be, but to really find it in yourself to really understand that they are there for you, and to do your best to not hurt them.
yeah.
I
mean, it might happen inevitably,
Yeah.
unintentionally if you are fighting the process, but you know.
You know, you may find yourself at a crossroads, and you may find yourself wanting to go down one path, and that path you want to go down may hurt someone close to you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
go about that path, but there's a consequence with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think a big part of life is keeping good people around you, and it's so important.
Yeah.
My personal experience is like, I'm in that, and not that I think personally, I feel like I'm that person on the outside looking in right now. As you guys know, in the midst of a tough
Situation.
life experience, as everyone's gonna go through. So that's kind of that's why I talk about it a lot, just because it's so prevalent in my life right now, and It's
Fresh,
there. It's fresh.
yeah.
It's what's going on in my life right now. But just keep those who are really about you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, by all means, that's your choice. But really find who those people are and keep them. Keep them.
Yeah, I think that was good. I feel like the beginning of our talk was kind of like rocky, but I think that we kind of got into the deepness that we wanted to reach. I think the end of our talk is kind of what we were trying to get at, not so much addressing fake people, but just kind of talking about our personal experiences and what it's done to our little fragile hearts.
So we all, like we said, we wanted to call this Fight the Temptation, and the kind of the backstory behind that is I think Amanda proposed the question of, or not the question, the frustration of not getting what you want. And that's a big component of life that a lot of people go through, I think.
Yeah.
And that's a tough pill to swallow when you can't get what you want. It's all about humbling yourself, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Do it.
What?
Do it. Do it.
I don't, but like, I don't know how to like not be specific, but like general enough.
I mean, I'll be specific. I don't want to be specific. But
I don't want to be like.
I think
I don't want it to be like,
I mean, as a guy and as someone in college, there's a lot of temptation out there. There's a lot of things you hope for, you want, but just the matter of the fact is you just can't. And
okay. All right, I could go from there.
See, I'd have to go explain a little bit more. I mean, like, I think you guys know what I'm talking about when I say there's as a guy, college, there's a lot of temptation, and I wouldn't say I've fallen victim to it just because. But it's tough. Those who are experiencing it, or those who have that same struggle with anything, you guys know it's a hard life to want something so much, but understand that you can't have it.
So how do you combat that?
How do I combat that? Oh man. Self-evaluation.
Like what?
I don't know, just like, once again, let's get this point across though first. This is not a Christian podcast.
No.
This is not us forcing religion onto anybody.
Mm-mm.
We are both people of faith, so the things we say come from our faith background.
Yeah.
So going back to what you said, how do I combat that? I'm a firm believer in God's plan. Shout out to Drake.
Oh, no.
I believe that there is a plan for each and every one of us, whether you believe in a God or you believe in God. I think there's a plan for every single individual, and what I'm doing is I am trusting in that. I am hoping that whatever crappy circumstance I find myself in, that there is a greater good to it, that there is a reason for it. And God knows that I'm in a place where there's temptation. He knows what I am going through. He knows that He knows I've shared my experiences with not only Amanda. I've shared it with obviously some of you guys out there. I've talked about a lot of things, but I've prayed about and I've shared my feelings, my hurt, my pain to God, and I think it's just me understanding that I have to wait I have to wait my time, and
good. Yeah.
It's an everyday struggle to know that you went from having something to not having something, and or an everyday struggle of you wanting something but just can't have, and it's just a matter of, you know, knowing that it's just not right now.
Yeah.
It's just because if it was right now, it'd be happening.
Right.
I'm a believer in that. If it was right now, it'd be happening. If it's not right now, it's because it's not supposed to happen right now.
Yeah. I think kind of going off that was a good segue for me to jump in. You kind of helped me let me gather my thoughts a little bit. So I guess my personal fighting the temptation. It's not so much temptation, but it's more of waiting and trusting in God's plan. Like Gian said, you know, we're not trying to push a religion or making this about our religious views, but my faith is a big part of my life, probably the biggest part of my life. And so when talking in casual conversation, it tends to come up just because, you know, it's a part of me. And so I think one of the biggest things that I'm going through right now is just kind of waiting for I wouldn't say a relationship, but I guess waiting for a guy. So I guess a relationship. I don't know. And it's really hard for me because I grew up in church and stuff, but I just became a follower of Jesus about a year ago. And so during this past year, Jesus has really done a huge transformation in my heart and in my life. And so me looking at qualities and attributes of guys is a lot different than what I used to view them as. And that's strictly because of my heart and the transformation that God's done in my life. And so I think with that, I'm kind of waiting and trusting that I know that God says that I'm supposed to be equally yoked with someone, and he's supposed to lead me in my faith and just things like that. And I think waiting for that guy is hard, especially because there's been guys who I'm like, hey, we get along super well, super fun, it'd be fun to date him or whatever, but we don't share the same faith background, or we don't believe in certain things, similar things and things like that. And that's super hard. It's really, really hard. And so I think kind of just trusting in God's plan for that is one of my biggest struggles right now, because I'm like, okay, well, I could easily have this, but I know that God promises that there's going to be so much more. And so like Gian said, if it's not now, I fully trust that God has a way better plan than what I have ever thought of in store. And so just waiting for that it's hard, but you know,
and if you want to take faith out of it, so taking faith out of it, just my advice to those who are struggling with temptation or are struggling with the idea of wanting something so bad, so bad, and just can't have it, just understand that there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Your time will come, and your opportunity to experience something, to feel something, it'll come, and it obviously may not be right now, but it will come.
Yeah.
Your time.
Juju.
Get that. your time will come, and that was me, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned it in the first episode is, you know, I was miserable my first semester of freshman year, and I was wanting something. I wanted a girlfriend. I wanted just, you know, a best friend. And for the couple months there, I was just, you know, I was struggling. I was getting mad. I was getting mad at God. I was just upset with life. I even contemplated quitting school just because I thought life was pretty bad. And so just for me, understanding that there's a timing and place, there's timing and place for everything, and the perfect timing happened. Second semester, I found my best friend. I found the LOML.
No, Gian.
LOML at the time.
Oh gosh, love of my life.
So, even if that was for, a year, I was able to experience that. I was able to, feel what it's like to really have someone. And even though that might be over now, I experienced that. So just have trust that your time will come. Your time will come.
That's good.
Something. What else do we want to talk about? So we have a
request, right?
Not a request. We have a thing that we wanted to address in terms of. You mentioned something at work today. Oh, sorry for my car. You mentioned something about.
Me?
Yeah. What was it called? You mentioned something about.
Woo!
You mentioned something about turning on and off feelings.
Oh.
So, if you
no.
Can you please elaborate on that?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so. Okay, I'm not really sure how to put this. I guess for me, I've dealt with heartbreak and whatnot. And I feel like after going through that, I, for some reason, am more able to kind of shut on and off my feelings. And I remember before going through heartbreak, I was like, I could never do that. I fall so hard. I give my everything, yada, 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 whatever. And now, after heartbreak, I feel like I'm able to just be like, okay, like turn off the feelings, or kind of like play it safe more so than I was before. I'm more cautious, I guess you could say, of like who I'm gonna let in and who I'm kind of gonna stay away from or put my guard up. I also think it's harder for me to let my guard down. And that looks different for everybody. But I think that it's because I know like how much it hurts to get your heart broken. I don't want to just give it to someone and just let them like mess with my heart. That sucks. And this sounds so cliche because I feel like everyone says this, but I think it's kind of been a realization for me, like, hey, I'm able to turn on and off these feelings, or say, hey, Amanda, like, you can't go down that road, so don't even think about it anymore. And I just kind of try and occupy my mind and my time and what I do with other things, rather than keeping that thought on that one thing that will drive me nuts. And I think that that's a learned trait, honestly. That's something that I have to practice consistently, and just remind myself, hey, we're not thinking about that. We're not going down that road. We're not, I don't know, just, it's a constant reminder. And I think, if you struggle with like anxiety and depression, that's another thing. Anxiety and depression is a constant battle. It doesn't just go away, and it's a daily battle that you can conquer. And that's something that you have to consistently work at, even if it's reminding yourself every second of the day, hey, this is just a thought, hey, this is just a thought, instead of letting that control your life. I think that's one step to being closer to recovery. And I guess, I don't really know how I got to that topic, but it does relate back to turning on and off those feelings. I guess my mental awareness, I guess, is a little bit better than it has been before in the past. So I recognize that certain things are thoughts and feelings that I have that I don't want to have. So I'm really quick to shut those down, or I'm really quick to try and occupy my time to not think about those. Does that kind of answer the question? Is that pretty clear?
Yes. I mean, for me, I'm honestly the opposite.
Yeah.
I think maybe just because it's everything's so fresh
I don't know,
for me.
maybe, yeah.
And like I haven't really like fully recovered
Mm-hmm.
and fully have gone through the the phase of complete heartbreak. So it's like just because maybe it's just so fresh for me. But I think for me personally, I'm such a hype, energetic person. So I naturally get excited. So if like for example, if I was talking to a female that that I found was attractive, the kind of the conversation and the engagement with that person, it would get me excited. So the moment I am essentially turned on, and not like sexually turned on, I'm just saying like turned on in general to like the person, I'm all in. I'm truly all in. And maybe that's a bad thing, you leave your heart on a platter and someone can easily just come up and stick a knife through it. But I think, I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, just because like I feel like I'm the type of person that if I give you a part of me, I'm giving you me. So I'm the type of person that if I'm gonna be all in, whether it's warranted or not, I'm gonna be all in, and I'm gonna be all in until it's no longer required. So the whole turning off feelings, it's new to me. It's not something I probably completely understand, but I just get excited, and I'm the type of person that wants to be all in. If you're all in, I want to be all in. So I can't really grasp my head around the whole on and off so easily, just because when I'm on, I'm on.
Yeah.
And it's because I want to be on.
Yeah.
Especially if I want to be on, I'm on.
Yeah.
And it's definitely gonna take a while for me to go off.
Yeah.
Just because it's cliche, but I love hard and I love a lot.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, I do too. I think that's why I'm able to turn on and off, because I realize that, like, I can't just give that away to people. Like,
and it's probably bad, because if I get hurt, I get hurt, and I just have to deal with it. But,
yeah.
I think in order for you to give your all, you'd also have to be willing to be hurt.
And I think that's probably going to be one of my struggles probably in the next relationship that I do end up getting into, God willing, if I do. That I am going to be scared. And I think that's I kind of find beauty in it, because I really hope that my next boyfriend is like not only pursuing me, but pursuing the Lord. And like, I know that if he's pursuing the Lord, like, that's something that I can let my guard down with, because I mean, I really don't think, I know that God isn't going to let me down. So if he's truly pursuing the Lord, I know that he's not going to let me down. God
willing, I just hope the next person I'm with truly loves me.
Well, yeah, I think that's kind of something we all wish for,
no, that's probably obvious, but like I just hope the next person I'm with is 100% all in. 100. And I'm not saying that my last one wasn't the case. There were times where I felt that it wasn't 100.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably understand that it's not always going to be 100. But I think the part, one of the good aspects of a good relationship is when someone is 60-40, it's up to that person to kind of carry that other person's weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a key component to a good relationship is, if your spouse or your girlfriend, boyfriend at the time is not feeling so great on that day, it's up to you to pick up that slack. So, and don't get offended if, that person is not, all the way
mm-hmm.
on that day.
Mm-hmm.
But, I fully expect 100 on the next one. Just because I'm always going to be 100.
Oh, Watch him change that answer when he's like.
No, it's like really that's really my personality though. That's just really how I am in relationships, and you can ask my ex.
Well, same.
You can ask the people
I feel
I've been around. If I'm all in, I'm all in.
I mean, yeah, but don't you think it'll take a while for you to get there?
To get all in?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I feel like
that's what I'm saying.
if I'm vibing with someone and like, okay, there's feelings there, then I'm all about trying to get those feelings to the next level. Like, meaning, like, if I'm talking to someone and I'm all in, I'm trying to date them.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's what happened with me. That's what happened with me on my last relationship is like, yeah, we talked and, we vibed. So the result of that is I was all in.
Yeah.
And then one of the funny stories about my last relationship is like, it took me 4 tries just to see her again. So like I saw her, I met her, and then after that, it took me 4 tries to like see her again. So, obviously I was all in. So, those who just heard that story, don't give up, fellas. Don't give up. Keep pushing.
That's a good segue into the next topic.
Oh, perfect.
Yes,
Look at that. So we wanted to, because Amanda's a female, obviously.
Hopefully they know I'm a female by my voice.
And I am a male.
Sometimes.
So, okay. Wow.
I'm just kidding.
So we wanted to address rejection, and from a guy and a girl's perspective about rejection.
Yep.
And I think there's a difference when one has gone through life's a relationship experience. So I think there's a difference between pre-relationship and post-relationship on how you view rejection. For me, before my relationship, my previous relationship, I was probably scared of rejection.
Yeah.
I was definitely one that was scared of rejection.
Yeah.
But I think, and then now post, I've shot my shot a couple of times. And, I have been rejected, and to be honest, it hasn't bothered me that much. Just because I don't know. And I think with rejection, I advise those who, whether guy or girl, to not lose confidence. I've experienced a loss of confidence, and that's solely a result because of, the breakup. And I feel like, I think that's a natural feeling post-breakup, is like you feel like, you did something wrong, or you were bad, or, you wish you could have done something better. But sometimes that's simply just not the case, and, it just didn't work out. So just understand that, you can't lose confidence in who you are. And I think I can see myself where I maybe have lost confidence, but I also understand that, I think I'm good looking. I think I am. I believe in what my capabilities are in a relationship.
Yeah.
I feel like I could be really good at it. So I haven't lost confidence there. But in terms of rejection, shoot your shot. If it gets blocked, if it gets sent to the 3rd row, keep shooting. Shooters shoot. Shooters keep shooting. For all you basketball people out there, you guys know shooters shoot. And in terms of shooting your shot with a female, or if you're a girl shooting your shot with a guy, shoot your shot. And I advise you females, if you find a guy really attractive, shoot your shot with them too, because as a guy, I would appreciate it so much if a girl shot her shot with you. You know how good that would feel? I'd feel like $1 million. That'd make me feel like $1 million for a girl to shoot her shot on me. It doesn't always have to be the guy. Please, if you're a girl listening, please don't be scared to approach a guy. Please.
Okay, well, so we'll go to the girl's perspective. And women are always right. Guys, make sure you get that. I'm sure your dad has told you that if they're a good father. Women are always right. Right, Gian? Right, Gian? Right, Amanda. Right, Amanda. Right. Okay.
In some cases.
Okay, anyways. Happy wife, happy life. Okay? Everyone remember that.
Behind every great man, there is a great woman.
Yeah, happy wife, happy life. Okay, just make your wife happy. Life is happy. Okay, anyways. So,
Precursor to all that, we are not married. I don't have a wife. She doesn't have a husband.
No.
So
We're both single. Single.
and ready to mingle.
Oh, Lord. Oh, I should have said, I hate you, Gian, for that. But,
You should
know,
have.
it didn't flow. It had
It
a...
hasn't come out
It
yet.
hasn't come out yet. It hasn't
I guess I'm
come
not
out.
saying anything dumb.
No, we're having deep conversations, and I appreciate your deep conversations. So can't hate on you right now. Anyways, so from a girl's perspective, so I guess what Gian said before, about before a relationship, rejection's scary, but after it's like because I would say now that I'm pretty confident. Like Jan said, like, I'm pretty confident with what I have to offer. I think I'm pretty decent. I mean, I don't know about decent looking, but, like, I'm a decent human being. Like, I have a nice heart. I also feel like I could carry a conversation semi-well. And I have this, like, personality that's kind of weird and crazy. So, if you're, I don't know, I'll make myself look more awkward than you, so I make people feel comfortable with their awkwardness, hopefully. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Anyway, random rant. But I would be comfortable with being like, hey, actually, I don't know.
You are definitely not comfortable with
I guess not.
shooting.
Nah.
You're not comfortable with shooting. I've
okay.
seen you struggle with shooting your shot, and I've had to talk you through
Okay.
shooting your shot.
Okay, but when it comes down to, like, I don't know, being honest, because then I don't know.
Okay, so if you can't like, as a female, like, what's it like to have someone shoot their shot on you? What's a guy?
Oh gosh, well, if you come across like creepy and just like after one thing, I don't know, it's just a way that you approach it. I don't know. I think you have to approach it in like a non-creepy way, because some guys come up and it's like, hey, baby girl, what you doing? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? So don't do it like that. But I don't know what would...
Obviously, I don't know what the proper way of shooting your shot, because it hasn't worked out in my case, but
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you what's the ideal way of going about shooting your shot, because I have not been successful.
Yeah, like, if, you're in college and you see a cute girl in class, be like, hey, like, we should grab some lunch after class, or, like, whatever. So that's not weird, and honestly, the girl's gonna tell her friends, like, oh my gosh, this guy asked me to get lunch, blah, 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 and she's gonna be all weird about it, but in the inside, she's, like, secretly jumping for joy. So don't take it personal if she talks to her friends like it's not a big deal, because she likes it. She just has to make it seem like it's not that big of a deal to her friends.
And if he doesn't pay on the first date, ladies, he's not the one. Fellas, if you don't pay on the first day, dude, what are you doing? I don't care what the price is. Guy, fella, you gotta pay.
Why? Okay, I'm curious. Why do you say that, Gian?
It's just a thing. It's just a thing.
What's okay? But
That's
you put
like
words to the
relationship-
thing?
That's like relationship code. First date, guy pays.
I've never had a guy pay for my...
Even if it's not serious, even if it's just like, if it's like your guys' first date together, dude, you gotta pay.
See, I think I've just been lacking in the guy section, because I guess I just never picked a winner, obviously, because, I'm a winner at a losing game, as Rascal Flatts likes to say.
Just final thoughts, guys. Don't be afraid. Shoot your shot. Shooters keep shooting. If it gets blocked, move on. Lick your wounds. Try again.
Also, I don't know.
Not the same person, obviously, but like, if you find someone else cute.
Oh yeah, that's
Shoot.
a good point, Gian. If a girl's like, yo, like, guys, take the hint. That's a good one. That's a good point. Like, if a guy continuously like tries again and again.
If you keep texting her, hey, let's hang out, and she doesn't respond at all, that's probably a good sign to say stop. even if she doesn't say stop, you should probably stop. If you do it like 5 times and she still doesn't text you
Yeah,
back.
because that's a way of saying, hey, what's going on, baby girl?
I've seen that. I've seen it. And so if she doesn't say a single word to you after like 5 different attempts on like after like 5 different amount of time periods, you should probably stop.
Yeah. Cool.
So I think that's a good segue to end this thing. Let's
Yep.
wrap it up.
Yep.
Once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you if you were listening to this point. Thank you for listening to the previous, whatever,
Yeah.
50 minutes.
Yeah.
We appreciate it so much. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Comment below what you guys would like us to talk about, or feel free to share your story if you're comfortable with it. We would definitely love to hear from you guys.
Yep.
Because it also give us some content for the next couple episodes or
Yeah.
whatever. So,
And sorry for the beginning, because I feel like the beginning was pretty rough, but I think we kind of segued into some good topics, so hopefully they could just fast forward.
it's usually how it goes though. The
Yeah.
first couple minutes are rough. You got to get settled in,
Yeah.
and then you can just go dive right deep.
Okay, well, we love y'all, and
Love y'all. Stay blessed. Godspeed.
hashtag bless up, bless, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely how we're gonna end this thing. All right, be safe. Have a good night.
Yay.